You are born in the shadow of the temple granaries at Waset, the city the Greeks will one day call Thebes, in the 23rd year of the reign of a pharaoh whose name your mother speaks only in a whisper. Because names have power, and power is not for people like you. Your father is a baker's assistant. He smells of yeast and river mud, and he hums old songs to the god Happy when the Nile begins to rise, as though the flood cares whether it is thanked. Your mother keeps a small shrine to Tauret by the door, the hippopotamus goddess who guards women in childbirth, because 2 of your mother's children did not survive to see their first flood season. You are the 3rd. You live. Years pass. You turn 5, and you learn to grind emmer wheat between 2 stones until your palms blister and then callous. You turn 8, and your father teaches you which loaves are for the temple, which are for the workers' village, and which the fine white ones, the ones dusted with coriander and dates, are never, ever for you. You turn 11, and you understand for the first time that some people eat to live, and some people, apparently, live to eat, and that the difference between the two is not something you chose. There is an uncle, your mother's brother, who serves as a scribe's assistant in the vizier's household. He visits twice a year, smelling of papyrus and self-importance, and he is the one who first says it. Almost as a joke, you have a steady hand and a strong stomach. Boy, perhaps the palace has use for that. Your mother does not laugh. The rupture comes the summer you turn 14. It comes quietly, the way most ruin does not with fire, but with a cough. A fever moves through the workers' village like a rumor, and it does not distinguish between the pious and the wicked, the strong and the small. Your father goes first. Then, 3 days later, your youngest sister, who is 6, and who has never once in her short life eaten a fine white loaf. The house goes still in a way houses are not supposed to be still. You do not think about what is happening in that room. You think about the bread that no longer needs baking. Your mother cannot feed 2 mouths on a dead man's wages. She writes through your uncle, because she cannot write herself asking if the palace still has use for a boy with a steady hand. The palace has a very particular use. You are brought before the overseer of the royal table, a heavy-set man named Senmut, who examines your hands like a farmer examines a plow ox. You understand what this work is, he says. It is not a question. The Pharaoh is the living god on earth. His body cannot be touched by poison, by rot, by the malice of his enemies. You touch it first. You taste it first. If it is safe, he eats. If it is not, he does not finish the sentence. He does not need to. The truth is this: a food taster is not chosen for loyalty, or courage, or even skill. He is chosen because he is replaceable. There are 11 of you serving the royal kitchens in rotation, and the vizier's office keeps a waiting list, because sons of hungry mothers are unfortunately a renewable resource. An older taster named Pentu, who has survived 4 years in the role a small miracle, he says, and he does not smile when he says it takes you under his arm the first week. Watch the cook's hands, not their faces. He tells you over a bowl of stewed lentils neither of you has tasted yet. Faces lie. Hands sweat. He shows you how to take the smallest possible portion, how to wait the count of 100 before swallowing more, how to recognize the bitter almond smell that means someone has been careless, or worse, has not been careless at all. Before we go further into how you survive or don't in the most heavily guarded kitchen in the ancient world, let's talk about something that will absolutely not try to poison you. Today's sponsor, NileGuard water filters. Look, you don't have 11 backup tasters for your drinking water, so maybe don't leave it to chance. NileGuard's 3-stage carbon filter pitcher removes sediment, chlorine taste, and common contaminants in under 2 minutes, no royal decree required. Right now, listeners of this channel get 20% off any NileGuard pitcher with the code TASTER20 at checkout. That's TASTER20 for 20% off at nileguard.com. Stay hydrated, stay unpoisoned, and let's get back to the story. Escalation. You serve 2 years without incident. You learn the rhythms of the kitchen the way your father once knew the rhythms of the flood, which cook is careless with the fish oil, which steward skims grain for his own household, which guard accepts a bribe to look away from a delivery cart for the length of a prayer. You begin, quietly, to matter to no one and to notice everyone. There is a girl who works the bread ovens, named Merit, who saves you the burned heel of the loaf because the good part must go untouched until it passes your mouth. It is a small kindness. It costs her nothing, and it costs you everything. Because when Senmut catches her doing it a second time, he has her reassigned to the flax fields outside the city walls, where the sun is merciless and the wages are worse. Attachments make careless tasters, he tells you, not unkindly. This is the quiet resistance, crushed, as it always is. The climax comes on the Feast of Opet, when the Pharaoh's barge sails the god Amun statue from Karnak to Luxor and the whole city drinks and eats itself into a stupor of gratitude. The kitchen prepares a honeyed duck stuffed with figs, a dish so rich it is served only twice a year. You take your portion. You count to 100. At 40, your vision narrows at the edges. The way Pentu once described it happening to a taster before you, a man whose name no one bothered to remember. Your hands go first cold, then numb. Someone is shouting. You are aware of the floor against your cheek before you are aware that you have fallen. You wake 3 days later in a servant's cot, alive, hollowed out, informed by a physician's assistant that whatever poison was in the duck was diluted enough by your small portion that your body barely outran it. The cook responsible is never found. Or perhaps he is found, and no one tells you, because what you were is not a person the truth is owed to. You go back to the kitchen 4 days after that. There is nowhere else for a boy like you to go, and Senmut needs a taster, and you, still living, are cheaper than training a new one. You do not know. Standing again at the tasting table with your steady hand held out for whatever the cooks bring you next, whether you will see another flood season. No one in your position ever truly knows. But you have learned the one true thing this life had to teach you. The thing your father's bread and your sister's silence and Merit's burned heel and the duck's honeyed sweetness all pointed toward from the very beginning. That survival, here, is never a reward for virtue. It is only ever a matter of portion size, and luck, and how small a mouthful the world decided you were worth.